Hi, everybody. Welcome again to Ivy English. I'm Bruce.
I'm Angela.
And I'm Wesley.
Today we have, on the 29th day of this month, Who Was Saturn?
Ooh.
Does Saturn have anything to do with the 29th, or is it just to do with Saturday?
Saturday. But
Okay.
today's Wednesday.
Wait a minute. This should be on a Saturday.
Well, in any case, 这个中文标题是星期六古神萨图恩。
Okay, I'll read through this and maybe some of our jokes will make more sense to you. But it really is Wednesday, and I think Angela is right. Maybe we should have put this on a Saturday.
Well, we did the Friday one on a Tuesday, so.
Oh, well, I guess that figures. The day Saturday was named for the Roman god Saturn, as was the planet Saturn. If you've ever read Roman mythology, you've probably heard of Jupiter, Juno, Aphrodite, or Athena. Saturn has likely not come up. So, who was he? Insight on Saturn will require a deep dive into Roman mythology. If you prefer Greek myths, Saturn's Greek equivalent, Kronos, has an identical origin and downfall. During the time of ancient Rome, people worshipped Jupiter and a number of other related deities. But they weren't the first gods, and though immortal, they hadn't been around forever. Roman myths told of a golden age when humans lived in harmony with the earth and didn't have to work or toil for food. This coincided with the rule of Saturn. Saturn was born of some of the first gods, Celis and Terra, or sky and earth. Eventually, Saturn overthrew Celis and became the ruling deity. Worried that his own children would usurp him in a similar fashion, Saturn ate his children as soon as they were born. Ops, the mother of Jupiter, didn't want her son to suffer the same fate, and sent him into hiding when he was born. To trick Saturn, she offered him a stone bundled in a cloth like a newborn, which he ate without a second glance. Eventually, Saturn had to throw up the stone to get it out of his belly, and, when he did, all his other children emerged with it. At the same time, Jupiter returned to overthrow his father and establish the modern pantheon of gods of ancient Rome.
Basically, it's soap operas from hundreds of years ago. But I mean, honestly, when I first read this story, I had a book of Greek mythology when I was, somewhere in grade school. Mm-hmm. I read this book, and I just, those memes where the person is there and they're surrounded by question marks? I just finished reading this book, and I was like, what? What? Especially this story made me go, what? What is the point of all of this? But okay. The day Saturday was named for the Roman god Saturn, as was the planet Saturn. So Saturn, as a name, is sexy enough to make it our day of our week and one of our planets.
好，所以 the day Saturday 礼拜六这一天呢 was named for 就是以什么命名？好，以什么命名呢？以这个罗马的这个神Saturn 命名as was the planet Saturn 就如同这个土星这个星球也是用 Saturn 来命名，英文叫 Saturn， 中文叫土星。那这个 was 呢 as was 这个 was 就是 as这个 the planet Saturn was named for the Roman god Saturn 那只不过这个 was 把后面的通通省略掉了，然后那个 as 放在这个子句的前面 as was 然后 the planet Saturn 这样去理解你就知道了。这句话后面 as was the planet Saturn 其实就是 as the planet Saturn was named for the Roman god Saturn 的意思。
If you've ever read Roman mythology, you've probably heard of Jupiter, Juno, Aphrodite, or Athena. Okay, Roman mythology has many, many, many characters. Naturally, some of them will be more popular or famous or thrilling than others. So Jupiter was the king of the gods. Aphrodite was a beautiful nymph.
Goddess of love.
Goddess of love. Venus.
Yeah, that's the Greek name.
Yeah.
Right. And Athena, she was the warrior.
The goddess
she's the
of
wisdom.
Wisdom and warfare, both.
Well, no, she's the goddess of strategy. God of war is different.
Oh, that was Mars.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, there's a lot of mythology, and it's easy to mix up Roman and Greek mythology because these were a couple thousand years ago only, and things get mixed up and stories become confusing.
好，所以你如果读过罗马神话的话呢，你大概有听过哈 ，Jupiter 就是希腊神话里面的那个 Zeus 哈，那 Juno 就是希腊神话里面那个 Hera 哈，就是 Zeus 的太太，或者是 Jupiter 的太太，就是 Juno。那 Aphrodite 就是爱神啊，那这个希腊神话是叫 Venus，V-E-N-U-S。那 Athena 呢，啊，她是这个智慧之神，还有这个war， 我们刚刚讲她 Goddess of Warfare 哈，她不是战神，但她是 Warfare， 就是作战 strategy 哈，她是 God of Strategies 哈。那 Athena 在希腊神话里面呢，比较少人这样讲哈，但是她在希腊神话里面相当于就是 Minerva 这一个神啊 ，M-I-N-E-R-V-A。
So honestly, this mythology is very, very confusing, but it's very unlikely that you'll have heard of Saturn unless you wanted to know why Saturday was called Saturday, honestly. It has likely not come up. It has likely not been mentioned by anybody. So, who was he? Who was Saturn? Why is this god so apparently mysterious?
好，所以这些神的名字你大概都听过，但是呢 Saturn 这个名字 has likely 很可能 not come up 没有出现过，没有被提到啊。所以呢 Who was he 这个人到底是这个神到底是什么神啊？
Insight on Saturn will require a deep dive into Roman mythology. So if we want to understand who Saturn was, we cannot just read a little bit about Roman mythology. A deep dive means we're going to have to do some research.
Yeah.
所以这个 insight 就是 a deep understanding 哈，在这里哈，它本来可以指真知灼见哈，不过在这里指的是深入了解。你如果要深入了解 Saturn 的话呢，将会需要一个 deep dive 啊，就是 dive 就是这个 a plunge into water 跳到水里面潜水了哈。那 a deep dive into 就是你要深入探究的意思，在这里。好，所以你如果要深入了解 Saturn 的话呢，你就需要深入的探究这个罗马的神话。
If you prefer Greek myths, Saturn's Greek equivalent Kronos has an identical origin and downfall. So the stories of these two gods, or these two versions of the gods, like the Greeks is earlier than the Romans, right? So that's like version 1.0 and Romans is version 2.0.
Yeah.
So Kronos is 1.0 and Saturn is 2.0. But their stories are basically identical. A lot of times the stories got really kind of updated with the 2.0, but Kronos, Saturn did not.
所以呢，这个如果你比较喜欢希腊神话的话呢，那么 Saturn 它的希腊的这个希腊神话里面的 equivalent 那个对等的神呢，叫做 Kronos。好，那这个其实我记得以前念书的时候呢，这个我们大一的时候一开始就是要背这些希腊的神话里面的主神还有罗马神话里面的主神然后还要背谁等于谁，谁等于谁，然后考试就考这个。好，那个时候我觉得很无聊，后来觉得其实蛮有用的，因为这个东西真的很多文学里面都会提到这些神的故事好，所以呢 anyway 我们来看到这个地方讲到说这个他的Saturn 在希腊神话里面呢就叫做 Kronos。 那 Kronos 它有一个 identical 是一样的 origin， 它起源也是一样，那 downfall 它的衰亡衰败也是一样。
Now, you might wonder why the planet Saturn was named Saturn, and here is your answer. Saturn's equivalent was Kronos. Kronos was the god of time, and Saturn is the farthest out planet that we can still see with our eye. And remember, the telescope was not invented until the 17th century or the 16th century. So the planet that took the longest amount of time to go around is Saturn, we call Saturn. And Kronos, its root in modern English is CHRON. Chronology, for example, is the time description of something. So Kronos gave us the word chronology, and because Saturn took the most time to go around, that's why that planet was the planet which moved the slowest and took the most amount of time to make one revolution around the heavens was named Saturn.
It also makes sense in a way that it's the farthest planet out. If you think of that Kronos/Saturn was the father of the gods.
True.
Yeah. 好，所以这个 Bruce 老师跟小老师刚刚讲之后，像这个Chronos 这个字，它字根其实就是 time 的意思，像我们之前有学到 chronic 的意思，那个 chronic 就是时间的问题。那事实上这个 Saturn 土星呢是我们肉眼能看到的离我们最远的一个星球，所以你要到那边需要最久的时间。那另外呢这个星球离我们最远，所以你说它是这些神离我们最远的一个神的这个 origin 就离我们最远时间最远，也就是最早的一个神叫做 Saturn 或者是 Kronos 都蛮合适的。
Okay, let's continue. During the time of ancient Rome, and this is from 2,000 to 2,500 years ago or so, people worshiped Jupiter and a number of other related deities. That means related to Jupiter, his wife Juno, his the gods who worked around him or were his children and so on. Those are related deities. That's another word for gods. But remember, here we use 小写的 G rather than the 大写的 G-O-D used in the Islam and Jewish and Christian religions.
好，所以呢，在这个古罗马时代during the time of ancient Rome, people worshipped 大家敬拜Jupiter 这个神那这个对了 Jupiter 这个神要注意我以前有学生把它跟那个爱神搞混因为 Jupiter 听起来有点像丘比德其实爱神是 Cupid 是 C-U-P-I-D 要搞清楚听起来很像好，所以呢这个 Jupiter 是 Zeus 所以他们敬拜这个主神Jupiter 还有 a number of 几个其他的 related 相关的 deities 就是神祇就是这个 gods 那 gods 是小写。
Now, they weren't the first gods. So people worshipped a lot of gods in Rome, but they weren't the first god. And they all knew that. And even though they were immortal, they hadn't been around forever. They had an actual definite starting point. And that's the whole interesting thing about this story is that normally in most people's cosmologies, gods are forever. But in the Roman and Greek one, they had a definite starting date.
Yeah, well, their gods are special. Their gods are like people.
Yeah, their gods are basically like people.
Yeah.
Superpowered people, but
superheroes.
They're jealous. They cheat each other.
Yeah, they're like much more like people than anyone else's gods.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they continue to be popular.
Yeah.
But even the Percy Jackson series has taken all of that to a whole new level. So all the middle schoolers now are deeply in love with the Roman panthology and the Greek pantheon.
Yeah.
Panthology. Pantheon.
Yeah. 这个字我们在剧里会看到。
Percy Jackson is the name of a hero in a set of books. It's new to me, but it's not that new. A bunch of novels written by Rick Riordan. I think they're like 23 books now.
Wow.
I don't know, just tons and tons.
Yeah.
In the stories, I highly recommend them. They're very well written books. In the stories, there's a whole bunch of demigods who are the daughters and sons, half daughters and half sons of the original Greek and Roman gods.
Oh.
But they live in like New York City and places, and they don't necessarily always know, they don't start off knowing that they're demigods.
Yeah.
And so they discover themselves, and then they discover their powers, and then they run around helping with the bad guys, and it's another kind of superhero novel, but they're demigods as superheroes. It's awesome.
Yeah, demigods 就是半神。好，那 Percy Jackson 大家很多大概如果有看过电影或者那个小说，大家都很熟哈。那这些东西其实都跟希腊罗马神话有关。那我们刚刚也谈到说，希腊罗马神话这些神啊，就跟一般人一样啊，这个他们会嫉妒啊，会吃醋啊，哈，会出轨啊，哈，会打架啊等等的啊。那也许就是因为这个原因，所以到现在啊，大家还觉得这些神还蛮亲切的哈。那我们来看看这个句，他说啊，这些神呢被敬拜的这些 Jupiter 还有他的 related deities 呢，他们并不是 the first gods， 他们不是最早的神，而且虽然他们是 immortal 就是这个不死的哈，不会死的。好，那虽然他们不会是不死之身，但是 they haven't been around forever. Around 就是 being in existence， 换句话说，他们并不是永远存在的哈。他们最早呢也是被 created 出来的，只是说他们被 create 之后呢，啊，这个他们就永远能够长生不老。
All right, let's look at our second and last. Oh, no, this is the third paragraph, but it is the last one. Roman myths told of a golden age when humans lived in harmony with the earth and didn't have to work or toil for food. Does sound rather golden.
It does.
Yeah. 好，所以罗马神话呢 told 在这里就是讲了一个故事啊。那 of 就是这故事讲的是什么？好，所以换句话说，罗马神话里面讲了一个故事，这个故事就是说谈到了一个 golden age， 一个黄金时代。那个时候人类呢 lived in harmony with the earth 啊，人类呢跟地球啊是和平共处啊，大家过得非常的和谐。in harmony with 就是很和谐的。然后呢，人 didn't have to work 不需要工作哈，或者是不需要 toil for food。toil 就是做苦工劳苦哈 labor 哈 labor 当动词来用。那其实 toil for food 啊，这个很容易让人想起来圣经里面啊，其实亚当夏娃他们被赶出了伊甸园之后呢，其实有一个重要的差别，就是从此之后呢，他们人类啊，就亚当夏娃的子孙都必须要 toil for food， 就是你要辛苦工作才有食物可以吃。
Now, this golden age coincided or happened at the same time as, this coincided with the rule of Saturn. Hey, I just had a really great idea. Let's put Saturn back in power. Obviously, that will solve all of the world's problems, and we can go back to this golden age of living in harmony with the earth and not having to work for food. We can just lie around eating grapes.
Good idea.
Really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounds good.
Good. Yeah.
Paradise.
Yeah.
With Saturn in power.
好，所以 coincide with 就是跟这个有两个意思，一个是巧合，一个是与什么什么同时发生。所以这个地方应该是与什么什么同时发生啊 ，to happen at the same time， 或者是 during the same period。所以人类跟地球和平共处啊，不需要 labor for food 啊的这段时间呢，跟 the rule of Saturn 就是 Saturn 统治的时间呢是同时的啊。换句话说，这就是在这个 Saturn 统治的时候有这样的一个状况。
You know what?、Mm-hmm. Now I understand why Saturday is named after Saturn.
Why?
Because Saturday
first day of the weekend.
Is the first day of the weekend of lying around on your sofa eating grapes and not having to work.
Yeah,
now it all makes
maybe.
sense. It's all coming together.
Yeah, 所以 Saturday 为什么要用 Saturn 呢？因为可能在 Saturn 统治的时候，大家都不用工作就有食物可以吃哈，所以礼拜六呢，大家都不用工作哈。也许啊，这个就是 Saturday 要用 Saturn 的原因啊，这我们这乱猜的
Yeah.Anyway, Saturday was Saturn, not Saturday. Saturn, the guy, the god, the celestial being themselves, was born of some of the first gods, Caelus and Terra, or sky and earth. Wow, so there's like 2 generations of gods before Jupiter, before like the main Roman gods. Like, okay, that makes a lot of sense though. Sky and earth were the first gods. They got together and got, this hippie child who just laid around eating grapes all day, who made really good life for us humans. And then Saturn went ahead and got married and had children, and that's when the problem started. Mm-hmm. I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah.
By the way, though, Caelus, C-A-E-L-U-S, this word, Bruce and I are officially disagreeing on how to pronounce it. Because there's actually not in English an official agreement on whether you pronounce C-A-E as K or as C. And so Bruce will in a second explain how he pronounces it and why. I pronounce it like this because that's what the French, which is a Latin cognate,
Yeah.
that's how they pronounce it. And so I take my thing from the French.
好，所以呢，这个地方我们可以看到，这个Saturn was born of 它是由什么所生的 ？To be born of 就是由什么所生，由这些最早的神之中的这个Celes 跟 Terra 所生那我是念 Celes 那这个 Bruce 老师也是念 Celes， 那 Angel 老师他是念 Celes。那其实有一个重要原因，就是这个字是外来语所以在英文里面的念法呢，可能会有不同的念法。
Oh yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah 那还有这个Celes 像 Caesar 那个也是 AE 也是念 E 的长音不过不管怎么样，这个它是一个神然后后面这个 Terra 呢，其实 Terra 这个字呢，它就是 Earth 的意思所以那 Celes 这个神呢是天之神这个 God of the Sky 所以他后面就说这两个神，他就告诉你 or Sky and Earth 天跟地。
Right. We have many words in English that start with T-E-R-R, referring to land or earth, terrestrial, terrain, territory, and so on. Eventually, Saturn overthrew Celes. The son overthrew his father. He beat him in some contest, and he, Saturn, became the ruling deity. He became the ruling god of his time.
Yeah, 所以 eventually in the end 经过一番周折之后呢 Saturn overthrew 推翻了 Celes， 然后他就变成了 the ruling deity， 就是统治的那个神。
Now, worried that his own children would usurp him in a similar fashion, he was worried that, his children were going to dish out what he dished out to his own parents. Saturn decided that the best option to prevent regicide is to eat his children as soon as they were born. That is God logic for you.
所以呢 worried that 他这个 Saturn 担心他自己的小孩会 usurp him 那就是 usurp 就是篡夺的意思，篡位他怕他自己的小孩也会篡位in a similar fashion 在这里就是 manner 或者 way in a similar way， 他怕他的小孩呢有样学样你怎么样把阿公干掉的，我就怎么样把你干掉所以呢 Saturn 担心这样子事情发生，所以他就这个把他的小孩吃了as soon as they were born 他小孩一生出来就把他吃了那当然这都是神话了而且你后来发现他吃的并没有消化
Okay, I don't know if her name is Ops or Opes or even something else, but she was the mother of Jupiter, and she didn't want her son to suffer the same fate as I guess Jupiter's older brothers and sisters who were eaten by their father. And so she sent him into hiding when he was born. She wanted to protect him.
Yeah, 所以呢这个 Jupiter 的妈妈那她是这个罗马的这个 goddess of abundance and fertility 就是丰饶富裕这个生产这个的神因为她是类似那种大地之母那种感觉了那
And so opulent.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, opulent 就是很丰富的意思好，那所以呢他的妈妈不想他的小孩他的儿子呢 to suffer the same fate 受到这样遭遇到同样的命运，所以就 sent him into hiding。 那 when he was born 那这些英文大家都可以学一学他不想他 suffer the same fate， 然后呢 sent him into hiding。
So to trick Saturn, because obviously he'd be like, well, where's the baby?
Yeah.
So she's like, here's the baby. It's a stone, bundled in cloth like a newborn. And you've done this so many times that I know that he's not going to really look at this thing. He's just going to swallow it up, which he did. He ate it without a second glance. He's like, yep, something bundled in cloth, probably a baby. Swallow.
Yeah.
A lot of bones in this one.
He's like, wow, this one is... I think in some of the stories I've read of this, they sort of make an issue about how he felt it was uncomfortable in his stomach after that. But if you know that his children are all alive in his stomach, how would he have noticed the stone?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. But whatever. It's a story.
Yeah, 所以 to trick 就是 cheat 的意思。为了要骗这个 Saturn 呢 she offered him 就是指的 Saturn， 他给这个 Saturn 一个石头，但是是包起来的 bundled in a cloth bundle 就是wrap WRAP 啊。那 like a newborn 就是一个新生的婴儿啊，所以这个她就骗她老公啊，把她生下来的儿子呢就换掉了，用了一个石头把它包在布里面。那这个石头包在布里面的这个石头呢 which he 就是 Saturn ate 吃掉了 without a second glance 就是看也没看的意思 without a second glance 那看也没看就吃下去了。
He trusted his wife.
Yeah.
Eventually, after this, at some point, Saturn had to throw up the stone to get it out of his belly. Angela just mentioned this. Belly is stomach. And when he did, when he threw the stone out, up and out, all his other children emerged with it, the ones he had eaten before, but they were still alive.
Yeah, not digested.
So, wait a minute. The children, were they growing up in there? I have so many questions.
Well, you'll have to ask Saturn.
Yeah, I know, but like, how did the rock make the difference if he's got full-grown children in his belly?
The important thing is the idea, not the detail.
Got it. Don't ask questions.
This is not
I hear
logic.
You. 所以呢 eventually 到最后呢，这个 Saturn had to throw up the stone， 他必须要把这个石头吐出来，因为太难过了哈，消化不了。然后 to get it out of his belly 哈，这样子石头才能够从他的肚子里面跑出来。belly 就是他的肚子哈。那 when he did， 当他吐出来的时候呢，他所有其他的小孩呢都 emerged with it 哈，换句话说，之前吃下去的小孩都没有消化，都一起吐出来了。那 emerge 就是出现的意思哈，可能本来被隐藏起来，本来你看不到，现在出现了哈 ，come into view.
Now, at the same time, Jupiter returned in triumph to overthrow his father, exactly what his father feared, and established the modern pantheon of gods of ancient Rome. So if anyone asks you, why are the gods of ancient Rome such drama queens? Be like, listen, origin story.
It's a better story.
If your own parents were like this, and your own parents were such drama queens that they overthrew their own parents in order to get on the throne, first of all, you understand that monarchy is not stable. But second of all, you understand that these kids have never known stability in their life, so of course they're going to be like that, capital L, capital T.
好，所以 at the same time 好，同时呢 Jupiter 他就回来推翻了他的爸爸啊，然后 establish 建立了现代的这个万神殿啊 pantheon of gods 好，这个 pantheon 这个字很好记啊 P-A-N 就是 all 的意思，那 theos 就是 God 的意思，所以就是 all gods 都在这里叫做万神殿啊，所以呢他是建立了这个古希腊的这个现代版的或者是目前我们所熟知的这个万神殿，就是这些希腊神话里面的这些神。
Okay, so today's Wednesday, but when Saturday comes around, maybe you'll give a thought to Saturn. And you can see Saturn, the planet, with your naked eye, but you have to know where to look for it, and it's not particularly a bright looking star.
It's not particularly bright star. That, I think, sums up Saturn pretty well.
Yeah, maybe that's why he was sort of shuttled out to get away from the rest of the planets, whatever. So that's it for today. We'll be back with you again next month. Can't wait for that. Till then, bye-bye.